Hey guys, I'm Tyler, and today we're going to build this built-in pantry. Before we get started, if you guys wouldn't mind hitting that subscribe button right down there so you never miss when I upload a new video. This pantry is made out of melamine. It has some trays that are on drawer slides so you can access the back of the trays, which we could not in the previous pantry build. There are 4 of those. Shelves, there's adjustable shelves on either side, and the best part is the super gnarly can rack. So this is what the pantry looked like before we got started. I knew it wasn't always very good, but I never thought it was this bad. After having the built-in pantry like we want it, this looks absolutely terrible, and we're super glad that we got it changed out. Obviously, the first order of business was to get everything, kids included, out of the old pantry, and then take out the warped, brown, nasty shelves that were in there beforehand.
Let's get me started.
Once all of the previous structure was out of the pantry, I coated the back of it with high gloss white paint. There's going to be no melamine on the back, so we wanted to get it sealed nice and bright and shiny like the rest of the pantry. Then I added a torsion style box assembly to the bottom just to make sure everything was level with the rest of the floor. And then it was outside into the garage where I used my circular saw and a cross-cut door board to cut things down to size. I cut the biggest stuff out in the garage so I didn't have to carry it down into the basement and cut it on the table saw. And then with the wife's help, I assembled the largest pieces, and we actually had to slide it back and forth in the pantry opening so that we could hold it in place while pulling the pocket screws together.
Just steady.
Basket or bucket?
No, it's aside it.
And once the frame of the pantry was together, it was downstairs to cut all of the shelves and the bases of the drawers. And for the shelves that were going to be permanently in place, I used my pocket hole jig to drill some pocket holes. And then all of the edges that you can see are going to be edge banded with iron-on melamine edge banding. And to do this is super easy. Just roll out the edge banding, cut a strip off to the length that you want, and then use a hot iron to glue it down in place. I like to get the iron-on edge banding in place and then kind of rock the iron on each side to make sure it's a nice tight seam. And there was obviously a lot of edge banding, but it's not super exciting to watch. So then we put in the bigger shelves, using the shelves underneath as the spacers so we get everything aligned on both sides. And then again using the shelves themselves for each side to make sure everything is aligned perfectly. I was a little bit surprised, even with all of the shelves in place, that the pantry did rock around a little bit, so I added a couple blocks to the back where I screwed into the pantry and then into the wall, and that made everything super stable. Then it was back downstairs again onto the table saw to cut all of the bases for the drawers. There's going to be 3 trays on top that are a very shallow drawer for all of your baking needs, and then a deep drawer in the bottom for Tupperware, and then a super gnarly can drawer that you saw at the very beginning. The frame of the drawers are all pocket screwed together. and assembled around the base of the drawer using clamps and pocket screws. Again, no wood glue in this situation. And it's a little bit quiet because I forgot to turn the mic on the camera. Basically what I'm doing here is using a brad nail to hold the base in place before I add the screws, because with pocket screws the boards tend to drift a little bit unless you get a super tight clamping, and it was easier just to add a couple pins to hold everything in place. And there are the assembled trays, and there are 4 of these. And to install them, I used my handy rockler jig to put the drawer sides in place. These are full extension drawer slides. And then added the trays using these 4 spacers cut to the proper size. And then I would go downstairs and cut them on the chop saw shorter and shorter as I moved the trays up, because the distances between each were different. And now Sarah and I are adding the big Tupperware drawer in the bottom. And now to make the can rack, it was a bunch of cuts on the table saw to make the shelves that hold the cans, and then pocket holes on each one that'll hold the shelves onto the main drawer structure. And I'm actually using the shelves to space the bottom of the drawer properly. And I used a couple clamps to hold everything in place up to the marks that I had put with my tape measure, and then screwed the shelves into place using 1 1/4 inch coarse pocket screws. And on the edges I added a little bit of 1/2 inch plywood just so that the cans would not slip off of the slippery melamine. And then I used my handy right angle impact driver to put the double drawer slides in place. There's actually 2 of them. The reason for the double pair of drawer slides was I figured it was probably too much weight for one of those pocket screw shelves, so I wanted to try to spread the weight out between 2 different drawer slides. And adding the drawer fronts was super simple, using some double-sided tape, which I then pressed the drawer front up against and then screwed it into place from behind. To put the drawer handles on, I used a centering jig from Rockler, punched the holes, and then drilled with a brad point drill bit so I wouldn't splinter out the melamine, and then bolted the handles in from the back. And then the wife was very excited to fill it up, and I gotta say, it looks absolutely great. Such an improvement over the brown, dark, warped shelves that were there before. And actually it looks like we have way less product in here, but we actually have more than we originally had. It just is much more organized. Yay!
Yeah.
Yay! So there you go, guys. This didn't actually take me that long to build, and the wife absolutely loves it. I did remove the drawer that goes in the bottom here. That's going to be for the Tupperware drawer, because when I put the old style closet doors back in, you couldn't open the Tupperware drawer. Sooner than later, we are going to be building some barn doors here to replace the closet doors. So when we have those in place, they'll slide out of the way, and I can put the Tupperware drawer back in. I do gotta say, the best part of this whole thing is probably this can rack. Turned out super well, and it works fantastic. Holds a ton of cans too. I didn't use any glue on this because melamine and wood glue don't go together so well. Apparently there is a special melamine glue, but I don't actually have any experience with it. If any of you guys know anything more about that, let me know. It's by Type Bond, melamine glue. Probably use that in the future. There are lots of pocket holes in here, so this melamine should hold up perfectly well for this situation, and it's very sturdy as it's bolted to the wall, so it shouldn't ever shift around. Hope you guys enjoyed this build. If you did, please hammer that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button right over there so that you never miss when I upload a new video. I'm DIY Tyler. You guys have a good one.